Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. I was going to say Monday for a moment, but it is Wednesday. I'm super excited that you're here and we're going to geek out today. I have got some fun features we are going to build. But let me know in the chat, do say hi. Let me know what you're working on at the moment, what you're building, and are you looking forward to Hacktoberfest in like just under 2 weeks? Super, super exciting. So today, what are we going to be working on? Well, we're going to be working on the EdiHub open source project called the Open Source Healthcheck. That's a lot of open source in one sentence, but this is me, so this is no surprise there. Hi, Misha. How you doing? Great to see you here. So we're going to be working on this. I have got the code up on the left. We will make that a little bit bigger for you all so you can see it. Hopefully that is better. I'll talk you through what I've added on recently, and then we'll get coding, and so you can all join in. Great to see everyone joining. Great to see everyone saying hi in the chat. Awesome to have you all here. Thank you very much. So what is the Open Source Healthcheck? Let me start at the beginning, give you a bit of a brief background and intro. And when other people join later on, if they need to know what it's about, you can jump in the chat and chat with them as well about it, right? So pay attention now because you can help others, and that's how you build your personal brand and they get to remember you. So right, let's get back to this. So the health check allows you to add your open source repo to it with a link. So you can go to the log. I better start the app. That would help. So let me go to terminal and we can do npm run dev, right? Let's start there first. Okay, brilliant. Right, now the app is running. We can go to the ad and you can just get your GitHub URL. So just your link that you would get, you can put it here and you can hit save. And then what it will do, it will go to the report page. But before we get to that report page, let me show you. These are the repos that I've added. Some are mine, some are other people's. And congratulations, Dean. Well done, Dean. You were the first repo to have a success. Like, I actually haven't seen a success anywhere on this platform. And I was like, maybe it doesn't work. But Dean, well done. I should tweet that later on. You're the first person to actually get a success on your repo. So let's look at Dean's first, because that's pretty good. His badge is green. So his badge in his repo readme will be green, and the latest check, let's have a look. Like, that's all green. I mean, that's pretty awesome, and none are hidden because I know you can hide some checks. So that's a feature we added. And if we go to the actual health check, so we're using the health check to check the health check. I do have graphs here because I am the owner of that repo, whereas on Dean's one, I'm not the owner, so I can't get that information. I have one error, so we could fix that. That's not too bad. Oh, no, the latest check is 2 errors. So we might have a bug there. I need to check that out. And then I have one warning. So once I fix the errors, then it will say warning, and then I can hopefully get to a success. So let's see. Too many branches. I think that's because of Dependabot. I can quite easily fix that. More people joining. Thanks for saying hi in the chat. If you are here, do say hi. I appreciate it. And yeah, so branches, I think we could fix that. Labels, not enough labels. We could fix that as well. So we could get rid of the errors. And then the warning as well. Good first issue. I could get this green. Maybe with your help, we could do it. But that's not for today's live stream. We're going to be coding shortly. So that's basically what it is. And these are so you've got your repositories. And then when you go into the repository, you have all the checks. So you can see historically kind of how it was. So you can see I had 13 checks here with 2 were ignored. But up here, I've got 15 checks and none are ignored. So I was having a bit of play around with the settings. And then that's the report. So what I added recently and what we're going to do in this live stream, now giving you a bit of background, let's talk about what we're going to do. So recently, I added some automated checks because when you go into a repo, you can click run check. But I don't really want to do that regularly. I want it to happen automatically. I want to know if my checks are getting... Oh, didn't mean to zoom in. Did something on the trackpad there and zoomed in a bit weird. I don't want to have to check that my repository isn't getting worse. Like, I want to make sure it's getting better and not getting worse. And I don't want to have to go in kind of every day or once a week and hit, I can click run check and it does a check. It says I got two hidden because I'm practicing the hiding checks, because sometimes there might be something you're not going to fix, so you might as well hide it. Any questions, do let me know in the chat. We've also got Praduma here as well, and Emma. Thank you both for joining. To let you all know, Praduma spent many hours, if not days, helping me deploy this app to our new AnyHub cluster, cloud cluster. So thank you so much, Pradyum, with all the help. I mean, it was just you fixed all of that, so that was awesome. Well, I think you did it, and then we had some more changes, and you fixed it, and you improved it. Thank you so much for that. So, what was I saying? Yes, so I wrote a scheduler, and so I'm going to show you how I did that. And then the problem I have with a scheduler is I have hard-coded values, and we're going to move that to the open source project Flagsmith, so that I can change this number, this value really easily, like multiple times a day. Because when you're caching something or when you're doing a scheduler, I don't know how often I want it to run. So therefore, this way, I can just change it without changing code, without committing code, without creating a release, doing a deployment, all that sorts of stuff. So I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you, we're using it already, and I'll show you what we used it for and how we're going to use it today. So let's get back into the scheduler. So I do have an API endpoint. So if I go to Chrome, I've got it running here in Chrome. And we can refresh this, and in the code you will see that if I just minimize this on the side, you will see that we check in hours. Is the last check? So if I go back to any repository, because it's going to go through all the repositories, and if I just pick health check again, the last check was 2 minutes ago because I hit that run check button. But on a scheduler, I want to check every day if anything's older than 7 days in this situation, that I want it to go and update it. So it's automatically happening for all these projects that have been added to the platform. But is 7 days correct? Like, is that right? Well, I found out today, actually thinking about it before the live stream, I think that's too long. I actually would like it a bit more. So what I'd have to do is kind of say, okay, I want 5 days, commit, push it, create a release, deploy it, all the rest. Whereas with using Flagsmith's dashboard, I can go to that and I can go to schedule and, oh, not this one. We're going to come to that shortly. I've called it refresh. I can choose the value. And I've actually changed this to seconds rather than hours. Because I wanted it less than an hour. And I wanted to see if it worked. I wanted to do less than an hour, and 1 hour was the shortest. So now it's in seconds. If I want 1 hour, I would have to do 3,600 seconds, and we can change that again shortly. But the idea is I can just hit update and it automatically works. And I will show you that in discard changes. Yes, we're gonna come back to that. Actually, let me put that back up. So if I do 60 seconds times 60 minutes times 24, that's how many in a day, and then times 7, so that's how many we will need. Okay, so maybe we have to think about this. We might have to change it back to minutes or hours, but we'll see how it goes. Hey Kyle, how you doing? For those of you who don't know, Kyle's from Flagsmith. So any questions about Flagsmith that we're using today, do drop them in the chat. I will answer them. We've got support from Kyle as well. I did a live stream with Kyle, I think a couple of months ago. So much fun. And we actually were both at London JS event at Civo a week or two ago. And that was really good fun to see in person. Hey Saga, awesome to see you here. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we had so many issues, and you just resolved all of them. So thank you very much. As a Docker captain, thank you so much for helping with that, Pradyum. That really helped. Hey Devraj, awesome to have you here. I'm doing good. I'm excited about our live stream today. First time. You're always geeking out on Twitter with us, so great to see you on YouTube as well. Yeah, to meet in person was just awesome. It was so much fun. It's so different. Like geeking out people online, it's great, but then seeing in person is just so different. So what we have is we have this hard coded value, and I want to use this refresh, and I have created it already. But all you have to do to create it, to add, I log into Flagsmith with my GitHub, so you don't even have to set up a new account or anything like that. It's super easy to get started, so go try that out. And if you want to contribute to our project, you will need a Flagsmith account to do that. And it's completely free to use it. So you create a feature, you give it a name, any name that you like. Is it enabled by default? Does it have a value? You don't have to use both. You can use one or the other. So for example, with refresh, I don't have it enabled, or I could have it enabled. It makes no difference. I'm just getting the value. Whereas something else, like maybe the banner, I do want to enable it, and I will check if it is enabled, then display it with the value. So it's these great building blocks. I know what some of you are thinking, what are these icons on these ones? Well, for this refresh, whatever number I type in here, let me just put in 1,000 and I hit update. Right, so that's 1,000, and that value of that feature flag is for every user. Well, what you can do, actually, you can do it for a particular user, or you can actually do it for a group of users like maintainers or admins and so forth. So on this repo limit one, repo limit is how many repos you can add to your account on the Healthcheck project. And I've got 5 here, and I can easily change it to 6, and immediately everyone will get 1 extra repo that they can add. But what I've got is I've got these segment overrides. If you're a maintainer on the Healthcheck project, you actually get 25. You get a lot more. But I also have one more very cheeky identity override, which is, this is mine. I use the IDs from the database. I think a name or an email address might have been a bit clearer to find someone. But this is my ID, and I've actually got 100. And the great thing is I can just kind of edit this and go in and just change it. And same with the maintainers. I can just say, right, maintainers now suddenly get 50. They don't get 5, so I can hit update, and it happens immediately. I don't have to redeploy code. So that's just super awesome. And that's something I want to do with this cache, because I don't know what the best scheduling amount is. Is weekly good? Is monthly good? Is daily, hourly, every 6 hours? I mean, what do you think? Let me know in the chat. But I'm not sure. I don't, like I said, I don't want to keep kind of changing the code, committing, deploying, and releasing, and all that, or releasing and deploying, all that stuff. So, and I met Emma in person as well. I think twice. We did it at the Kubernetes conference in Edinburgh. So that was super fun. Look forward to next time, Emma, as well. Okay, I still have yet to meet Praduma though in person, and Praduma promises me that we'll go on a motorbike trip, so I'm super excited about that. So what do we need to do first? Well, you might think it's a little bit scary. Actually, not difficult to do. And the great thing is they actually have examples underneath straight away on your dashboard. Install Flagsmith, initialize it in your project, and they even have your tokens already in the code, so you can kind of copy and paste it. The good thing is we actually already have it in the project, so I do have it on the front end and the back end as well, because we're using NextJS, so we've got front and back. And this is in our API folder, so this is in the back end. And so let's do the backend first, and then we'll add it to our front end, because I want to add some drop downs. So therefore, someone could maybe choose their scheduling time. Some people might want monthly, but some people might want, I don't know, daily. So I don't know what those values are, but with feedback from the user, we can just easily customize and change that, and even do A/B testing and all sorts of awesome stuff. But Kyle, feel free to add any more. If I've missed anything, feel free to add it in the chat, any useful information and tips and so forth. That will be awesome. That would be great, Praduma. Yes, definitely surprise me one day. That would be awesome. Okay, so let's do a bit of coding, right? Let's do a bit of coding. So we're in the API section. So first of all, what we need to do, we're in the main branch. I might commit directly to main. We'll see. Don't tell anyone, be secret. So let's import Flagsmith. We've already, like I said, got it in the project already. So let's import Flagsmith. If anyone wants to know how to set it up in your project, I do have videos on that already, and I can quickly also show you as well. In NextJS, you use the provider to do it, so it's available in your project, but they've got great documentation examples on that. So we import Flagsmith. And then the next thing we're going to do, and there is definitely going to be a refactor for this. And I'll talk about the way I protect it and the way I run this, because on Cat Rover, we can't schedule, there's no cron job, we can't schedule things. So I do this via GitHub Action. So let me know if you'd like to know more about that. I can talk about that later on. So what you want to do is, I'm going to put a to-do on this, because what we're going to do here is instantiate a new Flagsmith object, but I really want to make that more central in the future. So I'm just going to put a to-do, say move to a reusable location, server side only. So just a note for myself, it's not going to stop us today. So let's create Flagsmith, and we'll create a new Flagsmith object. And we need to pass in our environment key. And like I said, that's already available. So environment key automatic autos complete, and it's available in our environment file and deployed on our environment as well, because we're using it in other features as well. So I do call it Flagsmith. Oh, spelled it wrong. Flagsmith environment. Let's put it right that time. Environment API key. There we go. So if I hit save, it's going to put in the commas and the semicolons for me already. And here we go. We've got Flagsmith. How is everyone? Is everyone following along? Let me just check the chat and see how it's all going. Thanks, Carl. I really appreciate it. You're an expert at this. Your talk at London.js on this was awesome. I don't know how you managed to do a talk and a live demo in 20 minutes. Like, that was super, super impressive. So okay, let me get back to it. Right, we're gonna come back to those in a minute. So we've got Flagsmith object. Well, what do we want to do next? Well, the next thing we want to do is we probably want to create some variables. So let's say let's create some flags. And I'm going to create that just as a let. We're going to add to it in a moment, and then let's create a refresh. And then what we'll do it in a try. We should do, as Flagsmiths always say in their documentation, defensive programming, and I got some amazing blog posts and tips on that as well. So to get all the flags, we're going to do an await, and we're going to say Flagsmith. Oh, you spell it right. Flagsmith.get environment flags, and that's going to get all of them for us. And then we want to grab our refresh one. So let's got the spacing a bit wrong there. So we can say flags dot get feature flag value, and we're going to pass in, here we go, refresh. Can't spell refresh. And if I need to put the catch at the end, otherwise it's going to not format correctly. If we do catch, here we go. And I can just do a console log for now. .error e. Right. So this name here needs to match this name on your dashboard. So when you are creating it, just remember that when you create a feature flag, this name is important. Like if you wrote something like, I don't know, camel case, like, I don't know, test me hyphen, I don't know, underscore. This is what you're going to use in your code. So just remember that kind of, you got to keep that in mind. Otherwise, you might end up renaming things later. As you see, I've got underscore here for GitHub Cache, and I got underscore here for the newer ones that I created, but optional checks weren't underscored, and I really regret that. So I need to go back and refactor those later on, and say with repo limit and so forth. So just keep that in mind. That will save you a bit of refactoring later on. Yes, it went so fast. I was up there for I think like 25 minutes, and it really wasn't enough time. It went so fast. I look forward to geeking out again, Emma, in person and also online as well. We'll plan some calls and some geek outs, definitely. By the way, everyone who's here, if you want to support me, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel. I really appreciate it. Okay. Louis, welcome to my live stream and Eddie Hub. As you can see, everyone's really friendly. So any questions, do ask in the chat. Right, let's get back to this. So what we could do now is I think we could do a console log and just check that it's coming through. So if I just say, I usually put like these in or something to make it stand out in the logs, and then I'll put refresh. So we can see that value's coming in. So if I open terminal, like a clear terminal, and if I open this and hit refresh, we should see some, here we go, 1,000. And I'm pretty sure that's what we wrote in on Flagsmith, right? We'll reduce this down a bit so you can see more code. Here we go. Oh, have I lost it? There we go, 1,000. And what do we have here? 1,000. And you know that's not hard coded because I changed that earlier on in the live stream. It was 1, remember? So that value's coming through. And so remember, the great thing is we can keep changing this, and our live production app will just obey the new number. So we don't have to keep redeploying as we want to try and figure out what these values should be. So it's super, super useful and important. So awesome. Is everyone following along? Let me know in the chat if all is going well and you're following along. And if you have any questions, like I said, Kyle from Flagsmith is here and can answer, in addition to myself, any questions. So yeah, let us know. Okay, right. All is good, I think. I'm waiting for any messages. A little bit of delay when messages come through. So let's have a look. Okay. Let's do the next bit of coding. So now we've got this value. Let's actually use it. So what we need to do is just come down here, and I can remove this to do because I'm actually doing it right now. And I can change that to be refresh. Oh, did I delete a bracket? I did. What did I delete? I deleted too much. Okay, let me delete it from this side. I don't delete too much. With the line wrapping, I messed it up. Here we go. Right, refresh. That looks better. So now that will obey 1,000. But I've got it in seconds here, and I've got it in hours here. And like I said, I was thinking about the live stream and changing it just before the live stream, which is probably a terrible thing to do just before the live stream. But it happens. Live dangerously and try things out. Fail fast. That's the thing we do in Agile, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from hours to be seconds. So I'm going to say difference in seconds, so it's a bit better. And I can delete this import now. Seconds aren't needed. Sorry, hours aren't needed. We've got seconds. And now we've got our server side running with Flagsmith. And like I said, it's no longer hard coded, which is super, super useful. So when I have the scheduler, which I'll show you in a minute on GitHub Actions, see, these are ignores. They're being ignored because the date, it hasn't expired. Like the 7 days haven't expired. I know it's 7 as well, but that's actually not related to it. But and now we've changed it to seconds. So the great thing is we should have more. We should have more that run. And I think just before the live stream, I did notice I need to wrap something in a promise all, but I'll do that in a minute. If you notice any improvements, do let me know in the chat. Welcome. Following closely. I love that. Awesome live stream. Thank you all so much for the support. I really appreciate it. We're already like, over 20 minutes into the live stream, and time's going fast, and I know I'm having fun. Hopefully you're having fun as well. Any questions, let me know in the chat. So now we have got this running on the server side. So I think that's pretty cool. So we'll do some front end UI stuff because I know you all like the UI stuff. So we will do that. But that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing else left to do. We have this and the refresh. Like I said, one thing we could do, we could change it. So I could put it to be a lot bigger if this is in seconds. And I wanted this for everybody to be 24 hours. That would be 60 seconds times 60 minutes times 24. Right, that's what I would need. I wanted to copy that, but I don't know what the Mac's doing here. I just want to copy that number. Okay, I'll type it out. It's forcing me to type it out. So what I can do is make that 24 hours for everybody. Let me close this. Right, so now for everybody, that's 24 hours. But for me, I could do an identity override, or I could do a segment override, and I could say for admins or maintainers, make it hourly and reduce it and all that. So there's lots of those great things that I can do, and I've got videos going into that as well. But if you do want to see it, okay, you know what? Let's do it. Maintainers don't get 24 hours refresh. Maybe they can refresh more often, but that might create too much noise for them and fill up their accounts. Again, for the moment, I'll stick with 24 hours because I want to see what people think of it. And this is the beauty. I can just change this number as often as I want. And not only that, I can change it, like I said, for type of user and even for identity override for myself. I can have it run more frequently, but I don't want to make too much noise on the app. So, right, so that's the back end done. I think that's pretty good. Have I missed anything? Has anyone noticed me missing anything? I think that's all right. Let's what I always recommend doing before we move on to the next task, let's just check the diff. So what we've got is I've changed it from hours to seconds in the date function. I've imported Flagsmith. We're creating the Flagsmith object using our secret ID, or secret key, I should say, not ID, secret key. And then we're getting the refresh feature flag, and then we're using it. I think I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. So we'll leave that how it is. And let me just show you how the checks work. So that API endpoint that I showed you here, what it's doing is I can hit it manually and locally. I've just got a kind of a hard-coded token. But what I do in production is it runs at kind of 3 o'clock every morning. And I'm going to call the same endpoint, API system checks, but the token is coming out of the GitHub Actions secret because that's obviously private. And then it will run through all the repositories and, it will run the ones that need to be run that have expired, and it will tell me if any have failed, and it'll tell me if any are ignored or if there's any errors. So that's pretty cool. Well, let's get onto the UI part. So let me close that now. Onto the UI part. So hopefully everyone's following along. This is a great use case for testing in production. Exactly. I think everyone gets so nervous about testing in production and they joke about it, but we can safely do it now, which is great. Yeah, to validate, are things working, and should the value be increased or decreased? I don't know. It's tough to figure out a lot of these values. So that's so true. And UI, right? Let's get into the UI. So let me just show you the UI page we're going to be working with. So the UI page we're going to be working with is actually settings. So you pick a repo. So in this case, I've picked the health check, and we go to settings. And what you see here, this is disabled at the moment, like how often to perform these checks. And this is in days. I have changed it to seconds. So we might have to do some calculation in a minute. We'll see. But it's disabled. So I'm going to enable that first. And I think it's got no other values in there. And then we're going to want to get those values from Flagsmith, because I don't know what those values should be. So we're going to want to change them. So let's bring that up and have a look. So we want to go to not the API anymore. Now we want to go to account. We want to go to settings, and we want to go to the form. Now I can minimize the side, and we've got this form. So the first thing we want to do is go down to that part of the form. You can see I've hard coded 1 day, 7 days, and 30 days. Again, I don't know if that's a good kind of frequency to run it at. I just made them up. So what we can do is, let me just not disable that for the moment. So let me just comment this out, and then you can see it's come kind of alive, as it were. And I've got, these 3 values. So I want to ditch one. There we go. Okay, 7 days and 30 days. And then the first thing we're going to want to do is have we got Flagsmith in this page already? Let me see. We do. So what you need to do is import from Flagsmith React, because I'm using NextJS, and then you say use flags, and you can see here I'm calling the kind of use flags with an array with the flags that I want. At the moment, it's optional checks. So these 3 are managed by Flagsmith as well, because I don't know which flags which checks I want people to ignore. And the reason why I say that is because I was concerned that if I go to my repo here, you've got 1 warning and 1 error. I was worried people would be like, oh, I've got 1 error. I'll just ignore it, and it'll be green. It'll be 100% green. And they might game the system if I allow them to have all of them to be ignored. They could literally ignore all 15 and have it green. So I wanted to be a bit kind of tasteful in what I allow people to ignore. Default branch, for example, like GitHub and Git recommend it to be main, but the project could be older and they never got renamed and probably still using master, or they want to use some other default branch and have another branching strategy. So I wanted them to be able to ignore that, and a few other things. But I didn't know what that was. I didn't want to keep committing things over and over again. So activity might be one. Some projects don't need to commit like every week. They might be really stable, might be years old, and they're just doing kind of bug fixes over time rather than adding features. So branches, default branches, and activity. The reason why branch, it says default branch, which is the main and master that I told you about. But the reason what branches is maybe you have too many. So some people say, well, I keep all my branches and I never actually want to delete them. So therefore they might have like, I don't know, 300 branches, and we were showing an error for that. But that's something they won't fix. They don't want to change. It's not like adding a description or adding a topic to the repo. So we're testing at the moment if that's useful. Like if they've got loads of branches, but they have a reason for it, then let them ignore it. So that's the idea at the moment. Everyone's still following along. Say hello in the chat if you're still awake and still following along. So what I want to do now, is change this. So I want to be able to change that value using Flagsmith. I want to redeploy every time. So as I was saying, we have Flagsmith here already. So what I need to do is add, in addition to that, and let me show you, I did create the feature flag earlier, which is, where is it? Schedule. I've called it schedule. I didn't give a description. And you can see here, I've got 4. Again, I don't know what they should be. I'm tempted to remove the 1 day because I'm worried that might be just too much potentially. We will see. We'll see how it goes. So I'll leave that for now. But that's what I've got. So you can actually use JSON. You can use XML, TOML, and YAML, which is awesome. So you can use a value, as I had done in the other ones. Let me close that one and go to the other ones. So I could use a number like refresh or repo limit. I have got a string like news alert. Give this repo, give our GitHub repo a star. Even done things as where was the other one, as the banner. So kind of doing A/B testing, 50% weight on each of these, and people are getting different responses, which is just super cool. So back to schedule. This is what we have. Okay, so we called it schedule. I need to use the same name, remember? So here it is. So if I copy that and I go comma and say schedule. And then I also want to grab that here as well. So everyone following along in the chat, making a cup of tea. Good idea. We've been going for 30 minutes already. How time flies when you're having fun. Awake and focused. Love that. Okay, good. I'm glad a few people are. That's awesome. Thanks everyone for your support. Any questions, do let us know in the chat. Everyone here is super friendly. They will help. Okay. So we have now done that. And the next thing we need to do is we need to pass the JSON. So I am going to duplicate that line. Just going to paste that and paste that. There we go. Okay. So, I noticed I have a bit of a naming issue because I call this schedule at the top. I don't actually think I'm using that anywhere. So I'm actually going to delete that. I don't think that is needed. I think there's a leftover from before. We will see. Let me just search the page and see. Yes, I think my naming is not so good. I'm terrible at naming. Like, who finds naming really hard? I find it so difficult. Okay, so I think that should be okay. I think we'd have renamed this one. This checkbox as well. Thinking about it, this checkbox shouldn't be schedule. It should be maybe, I don't know, something like automate or something like that. So I might actually rename that as well. So there's less confusion. I think that's okay. So I've hit save. The page shouldn't break. We've still got this drop down of what I had hard coded here. Okay, next up. So now we've got schedule. So in theory, and this is too easy. I think this is too easy. Do you think this is too easy as well? I think I must have missed something. This is not going to work because it's never that easy. So I think I could just put schedule here and it will work. But I'm a bit nervous because that just seems too simple. Oh, it did work. Remember there was 2 that were hard coded and now I have 1, 7, 14, and 30. And if I go back to the Flagsmith dashboard, what do we have on here? Schedule. 1, 7, 14, and 30. So we're moving from the hard coded to the feature flag that has a value of JSON in this case. Was actually way simpler than I thought. I mean, I'm really shocked. Actually, I thought it was going to be a bit more involved, but it actually works straight away. And therefore, like I said, you can customize it for a type of user. So an admin or a maintainer or a particular individual like yourself, like if you wanted to test something yourself. And just bear in mind that you've got different environments. So I'm in development at the moment on the Flagsmith dashboard. And you've also got production as well. So you can have different data on development and production. There is a link in the description below. Do go check it out. And I should be sharing it, Flagsmith, as well in the chat. So you can go try it out. They are fully open source, which is just super awesome. Absolutely love it that they're open source. Let me share this in the chat. Go check it out. No TypeScript, not in this project. Oh, I love TypeScript. I do. I actually created a project a few days ago, took a little really micro project with NextJS, so not NextJS, to wrap GitHub's trending repos in an API because there's actually no API on GitHub. And I used TypeScript for that, and it made me realize how much I miss TypeScript. I try and use JavaScript to be more inclusive for people who are new to tech on my open source projects. But yes, I think my next one is definitely going to have TypeScript because you're right, it just picks up so many things that we miss. I mean, everyone, let me know in the chat, are you more JavaScript or more TypeScript? I'll be curious to know what you will think. Yes, contribute to Flagsmith. Go check out their repo. I love it. It's super active, and they've got a Discord as well. Oh, that looks great. Is that in a separate repo? Was that going to be under the same project? Be curious to know. That would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be really good. I like that. Yeah, that will be, yeah, TypeScript and that sort of stuff would just be excellent. Absolutely love that. So we've done that and we did it in like 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. I mean, that's pretty impressive. What else? I don't know. The way I look at it is I think, what else can I make dynamic that I might want to change? I'm now trying to think, because that was much easier than I thought. I could do some more things around. I mean, I could wrap this whole automated thing in an enable disable. So I could make it that if I toggle it, because at the moment, if I go here and go refresh or schedule, they're disabled, but I'm not using it. So they're not enabled. But I could do that, or I could create a separate feature flag and I could make the whole form down here, maybe not up here, because that's kind of a different feature, as it were. I could kind of disable or enable that entire thing as well. That's quite interesting. There are quite a few things to do. Kyle, any other points that I've missed that we should mention? Everyone, let me know if there's any questions below. You know, I love questions, and if there's any questions about the health check project that I can show you as well, more than happy to. It is open source. I am working through the pull requests and issues that we've got. So I'm loving all the ideas and support that people are doing on that as well. And I'll bring up Flagsmith as well. So if I go GitHub, Flagsmith, go check out their projects. 4.7K stars. Let's get them to 5K stars. It's a great way to support. Here we go. Hi, how you doing? I know a few other people have said hi in the chat and I've missed it. Sorry, everyone. Thanks for saying hi. You can use it right now. Baked in feature flags. Ah, I see. Okay, cool. Nice. Have you got any videos or blog posts on an example, like a demo of that? That'd be great to know as well. Yeah, see, look, who was asking about if they can contribute? They've got over 350 forks, so lots of people contributing to the project. Well, they have lots of branches, so if I add Flagsmith, yes, that will come up as red, too many branches, but like I said, it might be part of the strategy, so therefore someone can ignore that as well. Some of the other checks that we do have, if I go back, is what else do we have? Is there a README? Are they using releases? Is there a license? Is there a pull request template, code of conduct? Do they have custom labels and stuff like that? We do have some more checks that we do want to add as well. So that's super fun. I guess the big part is how do you release this? I normally release with feature flags off and turn them on for internal groups, then all. Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. That's a good point. So you could have it so you release it with it off and then do maybe maintainers first, or me as an individual. Exactly. So if I go back to this one, or optional checks is another one. I think I've got identity override. Yes. So for optional checks, if I look at what I have on my profile, oops. I've got it off, but if I have it on my profile, I actually have it different to what everyone else has. So this is what you see on the page, but I have it different, and same with the repo limit. So 5 for everybody, 50 for maintainers, and for me, I get 100. That's a really good point, Kyle. Actually, I wish you were on the live stream, because this is actually a really good discussion point. It's something that I'm challenging. I'm having, how to explain it? I have a challenge at the moment. So I'm in the mindset, right, I love feature flags. I love it that you can turn them on and off. I love it that you can add values to them and JSON, etc., and so forth, and have segment overrides, identity, as we've all discussed. But the challenge I have is, when do I start cleaning things up? And so when do I remove them and so forth? Because I don't actually have anything in my workflow at the moment to go, I'm not using, I love it how it says the date. So news was created 68 days ago and banner was created 35 days ago. So maybe some of these could get don't need to be managed by Flagsmith anymore, and I could I'm happy with the results that I've got, and I could put it into the code base, because you don't want this list, I guess, to get too long, right? You don't want 1,000 feature flags. It becomes unmanageable. So yes, I know there's filters and you can add tags to things and all the rest, and there's a lot of things you can do there, but yeah, not letting it turn into, I suppose, a CMS is what we want to avoid. So yeah, I'd be interested to know if you've got any thoughts on that. That would be interesting. Depends on the feature flag. We're about to release automated stale flag detection. Ooh. I know you've got scheduling as well. So if anyone wants to schedule their flag changes, so here I'm changing it immediately. And so with the refresh, I'm changing it immediately, and same with the where was it? Schedule. But you could actually schedule it to happen later. See schedule update, which is very, very cool. So you said you have automated stale flag detection for non-permanent flags, and that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. So again, to try and stay on top of it. So what else can we show on the project as well? So this is Flagsmith, and let me share one to our repo as well. I do have it. Did I share it already? I can't remember if I did. I definitely shared Flagsmith's repo. I don't think I shared ours. Let me share ours if anyone wants to take a look. And remember to work on the project, don't forget to you need to set up a free Flagsmith account as well. So we've got 11 branches. So we're getting we're climbing as well. And we've got a lot of tags too. So yes. And we've got badges. Look, health check, 2 warnings on our project. Need to improve that. Okay. I showed you the GitHub action for the scheduling. What else can I show and see? So actually, what about the checks themselves? Maybe that's going too far, but actually what checks run, we could do that. Each check's got a specific ID. So that's quite interesting. I do have a new feature I want to work on soon, which has been highly requested, where people can click on the items. Okay, this is description or this is URL, and they want more information on it. So it might go to a page that's maybe like an MDX file, and they can then see more information, like maybe a screenshot of an arrow and saying, well, this URL, because yes, there's only one URL on the repo. It's the one up here, but or the one here, sorry, below the description. But it's some people might not realize that. So that could be quite useful. Like I said, a bit more information about this. And we had one, where is it? Like good first issue. We've got a sentence about it and an action, but maybe we could make it so it's a bit more clear. Right, what questions? Everyone jump in the chat. Let me know your questions, your ideas about what you think. But again, it was really quite quickly to add these to your project. And I can actually show you how we include Flagsmith in the project. So if I go to config, here we go, I've got Flagsmith, and this is basically how we do it. So I create the Flagsmith file, and here I initiate Flagsmith, and if there's a session, I'm actually, I don't know if you heard that loud motorcycle or not. But I also said if they're a maintainer or not. So that's how Flagsmith can send me different results depending on the person. So you can send these traits through. Are they a maintainer? Are they an admin? You can send through an email if you wanted. Then for you could do checks on the segment for like the email. Is their email domain, for example, I don't know, eddyhub.org, for example, and stuff like that. Yes, and then you return that. And then the other thing you have to do is in the layout, we do have to wrap it in a provider for Flagsmith, and that's it. So you can get up and running very quickly. I do have videos and blog posts on that as well, I think, too, if that's what you prefer. A cool challenge would be to opt into beta functions, surface a button, set a trait, beta true. Those users could be targeted via a segment, and you could enable new features for them. Yeah, that would be really cool. That's something I can maybe do next time. I do like the idea, because beta users is actually very useful. I think maintainers is definitely one set of users, and beta users would definitely be another, because we have had people who, like Dean, for example, who got the first repo that's completely green on the health check. but Dean's testing out kind of a lot of the latest features. So it would be good to deploy those and knowing it's not going to break for anyone else, and Dean can actually have those features. That would be a really good idea. So I could then put a few people who wanted to beta test the project, and I could enable that and put the feature in that category under the beta flag. I think that's a really good idea as well. There's so many things you can do. I think that's why we go down all these rabbit holes as well. But yeah, we did in today's live stream. We're going for 45 minutes, but under 30 minutes, we did a server-side and a client-side one. Let me just show all of you now. Again, for those of you who joined, who's joined recently, do say hi. And who's been around since the beginning, do also say hi. But let me know which one. What we did, just to recap, is we called the server-side we initiated Flagsmith on the server side, so it's a slightly different way of doing that. And then we grabbed the environment flags, and that's hiding it. We grabbed the environment flags here, and then can I highlight the line? No. We grabbed all the environment flags here, and then we also grabbed the feature flag value that we wanted, and then we used it here, which is just awesome. And on the UI, it's very, very similar. We grabbed the schedule flag, and we used JSON this time. So we passed the JSON, and then I just passed it to the component here. And so in the dropdown, in settings, we got the results that were on Flagsmith. So yeah, that's what we did. It might sound really straightforward, and that's because it was. Even that could be a segment. You could unlock features via a trait or green. Yes, that's true. Because yes, you've got these building blocks of segments and trait, and I do forget that. So that's super, super interesting. And the more I use it, the more it gets me thinking. And that's so, so true. So I guess a question for Kyle, as you're in the chat, sorry to make you type, is could you give us some example of segments and maybe give us some examples of traits? And in my mind, these are my examples. A segment would be an admin or maintainer or beta user. And then a trait would be maybe their email. And I could do a check, like, are they part of the eddyhub.org? Therefore, they're a maintainer, for example. And I could also pass in a few other things as well. But emails is the one that comes to mind because we can do a check. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, because you've been doing this for a while, and I think it's great to see how it's like I see feature flags, specifically Flagsmith, as building blocks, because we can use so many of these different things to get these building blocks, and then just kind of craft them together in how we want, which I think is super, super interesting. Traits, anything that you could see as being useful to a group of group people together. Love that. I think you hit the nail right on the head there. That's crystal clear. So that's perfect. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Well, usually my live streams go on for like an hour and a half because I usually get a bug and things go wrong and I'm trying to fix it. But I think because you've all been here, it's actually been great, coming up to an hour. And we didn't have any. I had one bug, actually. I did have one, but it was very, very small. Do you remember that one I had? It was when I had, I've got it here as well, you can see. Oh, no, I didn't mean to minimize it. I meant to click on the blue. It was when I had schedule up the top, which wasn't being used. And then I used it down here and I got an error. I was thinking, what have I done? So I had one small bug. That's probably the first live stream that happened. Maintainer, email, number of repos, number of warning successes, maybe info on what the repos. Yeah, okay. Again, that's super, super interesting. I love that. So is everyone ready for Hacktoberfest? Is everyone ready to contribute to open source? It's great to see that people are looking to contribute to an active project. I will share Flagsmith repo again in the chat and see. And they do have a lot of issues, so you can check that out. Make sure they are ready for development. Some are assigned already. So if you ask for an issue to be requested, make sure it's not assigned to someone already. And check out the contributors guide on how their flow works. Right? Remember, every project, although there's similarity between projects. Everyone has their own way of doing things. That's why reading the contributors guide is super, super important. So they've got labels. So you've got feature, API, security, improvement, and bug. And don't forget, everyone, you can click on these if you want to, maybe do something, dip your toe in the water, click on the one you want, for example, like bug, and then you can filter by it. And you can also do, did not mean to do that. You can also do up here assigned to nobody. So therefore, you can kind of reduce that list further and further down, and to see which one you want to look at. Okay. Well, in the last few minutes, what does everyone want to talk about? We have, like I said, it was a very productive live stream today. And usually I'm like sweating and stressing because I've got a bug that I can't fix. I'm like, I want to fix it. I've been going for 2 hours. I think I did a live stream maybe like a month ago, and I got a bit ambitious, and I think like 2 hours in and finished it. And we managed to do it in about 2.5 hours, but it was quite a bit stressful. So yes, how are all your projects going? And are you using, if everyone could write in the chat, I'd be curious to know, are you using some sort of feature flags in your projects at the moment? I'll be curious to know what people are using. I know people usually start off with hard coding something, and then they get kind of, I say, I'm doing air quotes, clever, and start moving it to config file. So for example, we've got a config file here, like app config. These are all the checks, and these are hard coded, but I could again move these to Flagsmith as well. And some things do need to be hard coded, like the version. I think that's important to be hard coded, but some things don't. And I think people move it to config because they're trying to abstract it away from their code, but then they realize that they have to keep deploying every time and still make a change to the commit. And then the next step, I think, after config, the next step is to move to environment variables, where they don't have to make any coding changes, but they still need to redeploy the app to pick up the new environment variables, or the app needs to be restarted, right? Something needs to happen, and that's the next step. And then the step after that is moving to using feature flags, which again just makes life so much easier. I don't know why we all haven't discovered it sooner, but there doesn't seem to be any questions in the chat, and that's okay. That is okay, because that means you're all either asleep or you know all the answers and you're happy to kind of contribute to either Flagsmith or the health check. And it would be great to geek out with you all. If you do have any questions, you know where you can find me. You can find me in the Eddie Hub Discord. I'm there every day and I'm always keen to geek out with you all. Don't forget, Flagsmith also has a Discord as well. So any Flagsmith questions you can ask in there. Feel free to ask at Eddie Hub. I need to check out feature flags more and more. I know the more I use it, the more I realize, where has this been all my life? Like, because I always thought feature flags were only for A/B testing, but there's just so much more to it. I think that's where, a lot of people, including myself, needed to get educated on what you can do with it. And it's just like so much more to it. So Emma, I look forward to geeking out. Let me know what projects you're working on and what projects you're adding feature flags to as well. And hopefully we'll meet in the middle. I know you were talking about coming down to Oxford. Hopefully next summer, if we can't make it work this summer, it'd be great to geek out again. So yes. And you can meet the Flagsmith team as well. I met them at Ben, Kyle, and Anna at London JS. It was super, super fun. Everyone, I'm going to, finish a few minutes early today, but I really enjoyed geeking out with you. And I look forward to next time. Check out in the links in the description below. And thank you so much for being here today and supporting. I look forward to next time. But now, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and have a great week. Bye, everyone.